I want to talk to you a minute about the purpose of each one of the seals. The little brown seal here maintains water from coming down into the main housing area. We don't want water in here because we don't want water getting down into the grease in the thrust bearing. So this seal protects that. The little seal that goes in on top of the gland nut, now being installed inside of the gland nut rather than on the through shaft itself, stops the water from being able to come down through the threads of the gland nut. Instead, it stops and must come in at the, let's see if I can turn it here. You see the little hole here. The O-ring inside is set down below that. So if the swivel tit leaks, the water will come out this hole into this chamber. This seal will stop it and force it to come back out. It'll come out this hole on the side. So if you see water coming out of this hole on the side, then you know that the swivel tit seal is leaking. And the gland nut will have to be tightened, or you may have to lap out the seal on the swivel tit. The little water seal at the top here in this area stops the water from coming down through when the swivel seal blows out. The water from the swivel seal will come down into this area where the cap is and end up coming out this little hole right here, which translates to these holes on the side of the top cover. So if you see water coming out of this hole, it's because your swivel seal is leaking. So you need to change the swivel seal. If by chance you see water coming out of this hole, then you know that not only is the swivel seal leaking, also the top cover seal is leaking, the lower cover seal is leaking. Water's getting down into the thrust bearing and coming out through this hole. If that's the case, you'll need to rebuild the thrust housing. We've recently done an upgrade to the through shafts. We've added a sensor to the side of the through shaft. You may be familiar with yours that has one. This is for the new PLC that we're doing that has the ability to control each through shaft separately. It's important to have this sensor set properly inside of the through shaft. So how would we know how to set that? Let me show you. You need a feeler gauge of 10/1000ths of an inch. The setting between the pickup ring and the sensor is 10/1000ths. So we're going to slide it down between the pickup ears, and we're going to turn the sensor in until it gets just slightly tight on the feeler gauge. Okay? Then we're going to leave it and we're going to turn the through shaft to the other pickup so that we know we've got both of them correct. This one must have at least 10/1000ths of an inch play. It has a little bit more, and that's fine. Okay? And then we're going to tighten this down. Well, we have to make sure when we tighten it that it doesn't move. And it did. So we're going to reset it. Okay. We're going to have to set it a little bit loose so that when we tighten the lock nuts down, what we call the jam nuts down, it'll be set to the proper depth. This can be a bit tricky, and it'll take you a few times probably to get it right. Looks like it. Then we'll reinstall the top cover. That's a quick and easy adjustment just to make sure that this is right. If you have this too far in, the little ears are going to hit it on the way by and ruin it. If you have it too far out, the pickup will not be able to sense, the sensor will not be able to sense the pickups when they come around, and you'll have an improper reading on your RPMs.